General Hospital, GH, spoilers hint that the proverbial poop is about to hit the fan in Port Charles come the new year. It seems that Brook, Lynn, Quartermain Chase, Amanda Seton, and Harrison Chase, Josh Swickard, will come together after the Christmas rush to discuss a future plan during the Thursday, December 26th episode. Of course, GH fans learned that the two are having slight issues when it comes to expanding their family, as Brook Lynn recently confided in Maxie Jones, Kirsten Storms. She told her bestie that she and Chase had been trying to conceive a baby for months now with no luck. This likely means both of them will decide it couldn't hurt to go to the doctor and get checked out to ensure there are no underlying conditions they aren't aware of. Having a baby can be the easiest and most impossible thing to do in the land of Port Charles. GH viewers almost come to expect obstacles whenever a super couple decide to take the leap and expand their family. Still, with Brook, Lynn, and Chase, there might be something bigger at play here. They will obviously meet up with the doctor together, and likely when the first question the physician will ask Brook Lynn is if she's ever been pregnant before. It's pretty standard and may also eliminate the need to test her for any issues if she did have a successful pregnancy. With that being said, GH has been strongly hinting at the idea that Brook Lynn has had a child before, and it's a secret she's kept for a while now. All red flags are pointing at the fact that she and Dante Falconeri, Dominic's Emprania, had a fling while teens at a camp and she got pregnant. It also looks like Lois Cerullo got involved and helped her daughter with the adoption process. To make things even stickier, the child given up for adoption is probably none other than Gio Palmieri, the orphan son from Bensonhurst who is living at the Quartermain mansion. Both his parents from the neighborhood have passed, and based on Lois's facial expressions at times, it looks like she was the one to spearhead little Gio's adoption back in the day to ensure she could still watch over him as he grew up. Brook Lynn really wants to have a baby with Chase, so will she tell the doctor the truth? Will she wait until she can get him alone? A recent scene with Maxie Jones seemed to hint that Brook Lynn may have had a traumatic birth, which might be the cause of her pregnancy issues. It doesn't seem as if Brook Lynn purposely lied to Chase about her pregnancy and adoption, but perhaps it's one of those topics that are hard to raise. Brook Lynn will feel mighty guilty if she doesn't pipe up and answer the doctor's question honestly, so will she spill the beans to Chase after the fact or in front of the physician? As there are so many moving pieces to this storyline, it only seems right that she ripped the first bandage of this secret by telling him about her camp fling pregnancy. She likely won't disclose that the father was Dante to keep the storyline moving along. General Hospital spoilers suggest this will turn out to be a massive mess when the whole truth comes out. After all, Lois has been lying to Brook Lynn all along about Gio's real parents. But what needs to happen for this secret to come be revealed? A medical emergency for Dante, Brook Lynn, or Gio? Only time will tell. CDL provides the best General Hospital predictions, news, spoilers, and updates, so swing by regularly for all the GH information you need. Brook Lynn Quartermain had always been bold, outspoken, and impossible to ignore, but lately there was a softness about her, a quiet vulnerability she couldn't quite mask, especially when she looked at Harrison Chase. Chase had noticed it too. It was why they were sitting side by side in a sterile examination room at General Hospital, fingers intertwined so tightly their knuckles were white. The word fertility hung heavy in the air. "I know it's just a consultation," Chase reassured her gently. "We're just getting information." "Right, information. No big deal." But it was a big deal. For months they had tried, carefully, hopefully, excitedly. Each time Brook Lynn convinced herself not to get her hopes up, and each month disappointment arrived like clockwork. Dr. Navarro entered with a warm smile and a tablet in hand. "We've completed the preliminary evaluations," she said calmly, "and there are a few things we need to discuss." Chase squeezed Brook Lynn's hand again. The doctor hesitated, just slightly. "Your results indicate prior pregnancy markers." The words didn't register at first. "Prior what?" Chase asked carefully. Dr. Navarro met Brook Lynn's eyes. Brook Lynn, based on hormone indicators and certain physiological changes, your body has experienced pregnancy before. Silence. Thick. Suffocating. Chase turned slowly toward his wife. Is that possible? Brook Lynn's face had gone completely pale. No, that's not right. I would know. Wouldn't she? The room suddenly felt too small. Dr. Navarro spoke gently. It may have ended very early. Some pregnancies resolve before a person even realizes. But something flickered behind Brook Lynn's eyes. Panic, because there had been a time, years ago.
A whirlwind tour, a reckless romance, a night she had convinced herself meant nothing. She'd brushed off the exhaustion, the nausea, the missed cycle she'd blamed on stress. And then there had been that faint pink line. She had told no one, not even her mother. She had been young, terrified, her music career just beginning to gain traction. The father, charming, complicated, completely wrong, had already left town before she found the courage to take the test. Brook Lynn had convinced herself it was false, that the second test she never took didn't matter. But what if it had? Brook Lynn? Chase's voice was soft but urgent now. She blinked back to the present. I don't remember being pregnant, she said, her voice trembling, but the truth was beginning to claw its way up her throat. After the appointment, they sat in the car in silence. Chase didn't push. That was one of the reasons she loved him. Finally, she spoke. There might have been something, a long time ago. Chase's jaw tightened, but not in anger, in hurt, in confusion. Why didn't you tell me? Because I wasn't sure. I was scared. I thought it was a false alarm, and then everything happened so fast. My career, family drama, everything. I told myself it wasn't real. Chase inhaled slowly, steadying himself. Was there a baby? Tears filled her eyes. I don't know. That uncertainty shattered them both. Back at the Quartermain mansion, the air buzzed with tension. Lois sensed something immediately. What happened at the doctor? She demanded, maternal instincts on full alert. Brook Lynn hesitated, but secrets in that house had a way of detonating at the worst possible moment. It turns out, Brook Lynn said carefully, I may have been pregnant before. The room erupted. Before Chase? Lois gasped. Yes! With who? Came the inevitable question. And there it was, the landmine. Because the identity of that man could change everything. Chase stood protectively beside her. That's not the point right now. But in Port Charles, identity is always the point. Meanwhile, Dr. Navarro ran additional tests, digging deeper into Brook Lynn's medical history. There were inconsistencies, missing records from a clinic out of state, a visit logged but never followed up. The deeper they looked, the stranger it became. 2 days later, Brook Lynn received a call that made her knees buckle. There's more, Dr. Navarro said carefully. The markers suggest the pregnancy progressed further than just a few weeks. Brook Lynn's breath caught. How much further? It's possible, the doctor continued gently, that you carried to term. The world tilted. That's impossible, Brook Lynn whispered. I never gave birth. But doubt had already rooted itself in her heart. Memories blurred. A period of time she'd barely revisited. A trip she cut short. An illness she couldn't fully explain. A family friend who had suddenly been very attentive. Had someone known? Had someone intervened? And if she had carried to term, where was the child? Chase found her sitting alone in the living room, staring at nothing. Talk to me, he pleaded. What if there's a child out there? She whispered. What if I have a son or daughter who thinks I didn't want them? Chase knelt in front of her, his hands cradling her face. If that's true, then we find out together, he said firmly. We face it together. For the first time since the doctor's appointment, Brook Lynn allowed herself to lean into him fully. But across town, someone else was watching. A young adult, dark hair, familiar eyes, holding an envelope. Inside it, adoption papers, and a birth certificate with a name that would shake the Quartermain family to its core. As Brook Lynn's first pregnancy secret teetered on the brink of exposure, one thing was certain: